It's it's obviously no secret how hard it is to be a parent. You have to be firm, but you have to also be soft. You have to find the right balance. And it's perhaps ironic for me to say it when I'm not a parent. So I don't really know much of, if anything at all, about parenting. But I've been around parents. I've sort of played a parental type of role enough to sort of have an idea of the difficulties that come along with parenthood. I guess it's also hard being a child, especially in your teenage years when you're trying to navigate the world and trying to fit in and trying to understand your place in all of this. And there's all the influences from everyone around you, the school teachers, school schoolmates, television, social media, the internet, all these influences all weighing upon you, and you're not sure where you fit in, what's your role in all of this. Now, the difficulties on both sides clash because with the generational difference between you and your parents, there's all these differences in experiences, all these differences in situations. Find your parents who want to put you in a better situation than they were in. So they don't really know how to navigate the place in which you are. They know how to navigate the place they were in. But that might be a completely different place from what you are in. And their guidance, their knowledge may not be relevant to the situation in which you find yourself, and it may not be relevant to the time in which you find yourself as well. I was having a conversation with, well, actually, they were having a conversation. I was just there. One of my aunt's friends, and she says her son was in matric, which in South Africa is the last grade of school, high school. But he doesn't want to continue with that anymore. He wants to go into business. Now, obviously, a lot of parents have to deal with such things where kids just don't want to finish up school anymore. They just want to do something else. But then what stood out for me with this particular kid was that he's actually sort of established something that he's doing. He's already starting some business, even though according to the mother and according to my aunt and the friends, they all think it's a dumb one, but it's a business. And then she went on to add that he reads books. He reads, self-help books, self-development, personal development about people who actually became successful, perhaps with or without school. And he's reading, he's educating himself. And to me, that seemed like at least that's a good step. Someone is actually educating themselves in the thing they want to do. I mean, first of all, instead of him just sitting at home saying he doesn't want to do the thing he wants to do, doesn't want to do school, but then just sitting, he's actually doing something in place of, being in school. And in addition to all of that, he continues to educate himself. He reads books that are outside of the curriculum and of the prescribed textbooks that you're supposed to read from school, but it's knowledge. And knowledge do not confuse it, do not get it confused. Knowledge is not confined to the limits of a syllabus or the limits of a curriculum. Anything else that is knowledge that one can acquire is education. And it is very important that we all educate ourselves one way or another. And I respected the fact that this kid is educating himself along the lines of what he wants to do with his life. He does not find value in him staying in a high school. And his reason is that school doesn't help, Mom, because you don't have money, yet you are educated in school. So I want to try a different route. It's difficult to advise. A lot of parents would rather the kid at least finish that matric And then you can now go and experiment with whatever you want to experiment with. I don't know the answer here, but I think that in life you may want to prove yourself. And this kid actually does good. He's actually, apparently he's doing good. Whenever he does actually do his schoolwork and write tests, he actually passes very well. I think it's worth his while to actually finish the matric. I think it's very necessary for him to do it. It's going to prove to himself that he can do it, which he already knows, but he'll reinforce that. And if he can do that while on the side building the business that he wants to build and continuing to teach himself the stuff that he wants to teach himself with those books that he's reading, I think that that creates and builds in him much better character than if he didn't go through with it. There is a certain thing about completing tasks that builds something in you. When you actually start something and actually finish it, whether you finished it to success or not, the fact that you actually went through with it and finished it builds something in you. And I think in this particular case, him actually going through with his matriculation should be mainly for him to have a victory in his list of things that he has achieved. And that's what I would say he'd do. Look, there's many different scenarios one could go through that could exist in life. But in this particular one, I really think that I would also advise that he finishes. Just finish matric. I mean, you're already there. You're already done the first term at least. Finish it up. Go through with it. Prove to yourself that you can do this. And once you've done that, you know there's one accolade that you at least have under your belt. And if you can do that alongside doing alongside doing your business, then you're a person who can do multiple things at a time. You're that person. You're building that character about yourself. You're building that within yourself. You become the person who completes things and not someone who just drops things when halfway through. You become a person who sees things through. That builds you up in a way that you can almost never explain. Maybe someone else would be able to explain this, but I can't. But I know that it does build up something in you, that I started this journey and I completed it. And I think if there are some of you out there who find themselves in such situations, then perhaps that's how you can look at this. Even though this might not be something that directly takes you to where you want to go, but it's something that builds something. It's something that builds something in you that you will need wherever it is that you're going.